Y'all, I'm having some technical difficulties, so today let's jump back to that Joe Rogan Experience episode where they talk about UFOs and aliens in the water, like UFOs emerging from the water, aliens living possibly in the water, like that may be where they're from. It's insane and it's a lot of fun, so smash like and check this out.
Compelling. There's two.
Well, don't they think aliens could live in the ocean? So, I mean,
Yes.
that's how much.
That was Jeremy Corbell was talking about that the other day. That they, it's hard to say like what kind of information he's getting, how accurate it is, but they're basically saying, think about the movie Abyss where the aliens lived underwater. He was like, that's probably what's going on.
Yeah,
That's kind of
alien base underwater.
That's kind of petrifying, but then it makes me think about all of the pressures under the water. A lot to think about.
They hide. That's where they go to be undetected.
Do you think you're going to see it?
I don't think they need to hide.
Bigfoot or aliens?
Aliens. Like, where it's like, oh, like we have to like talk to them now. We have to like interact with them.
There's a video that is impossible to ignore. There's some.
I'm sorry,
things that are impossible to ignore.
oh, we have to talk to them now.
And then there's eyewitness testimony.
I agree.
Of people who are rock solid, totally
Good mental health, ready to, yep.
Yeah.
who have seen some things. Like the best examples, this guy, Commander David Fravor, who was off the coast of San Diego in 2004. And this is corroborated by multiple points of data. They had this this tracking system that tracks things above Earth's atmosphere, and they found this thing went from above 60,000 feet above sea level to 50 feet above sea level in less than a second. They have no idea how it's doing this. They have no idea. There's no method of propulsion that's visible. They followed this thing. They locked onto it. It blocked their radar. It blocked their tracking systems, rather. And then it
That's crazy to me.
at an impossible rate of speed. And then the Nimitz relocate
Oh, yes.
thing at their cat point. The cat.
Sorry, y'all. I also love Joe Rogan, not because he's always open about the interview and isn't judgmental, but the man, the way that he retains knowledge, he's like a well of knowledge. He just like sits there and you can tell, especially when he speaks in later episodes, you can tell that he truly absorbs everything that you're saying and like holds it in because he retains so much knowledge. I love it.
The fighter pilots, when they're doing this test, they're doing this exercise, they were supposed to meet at this very specific point, and that's where this thing had gone. Like this thing had read their manifest and knew or read their plans and knew where they were going.
What's wild?
That is way more compelling to me than Bigfoot. The Bigfoot thing, but the alien is fun and likely. There's something going on, and so I go back and forth. Sometimes I think, some sort of government drone that's like so sophisticated, and they're
again. This takes me back to even the cryptids and Bigfoot. This takes me back to what Terrence Howard was saying about the world and its resonance and how the world actually came to be in a time span that we cannot perceive, which is why we give it the ages and the time that we give it, even whether it's scientific or religious. We put ourselves in this little box, this time constraint of when X amount of time has passed for this to happen, when in reality the universe is much older than we can even fathom, and machinations started happening before. I mean, again, we can't perceive the timeline of the entirety of the universe. It's impossible. But I love, if you watch the Terrence Howard episode, and we'll do a little thing about it, because there's a lot I'm going to get into in a future video. But the way that the planets work, before we got into this Goldilocks zone, we were more towards where Venus is, and the pressure closer to the sun is stronger, so that life, if there was life, would have been a completely different form of life, maybe more gaseous or spiritual, if you will, which then reminds me of Omnik, the woman from Venus, which like I can go on forever. And it's like when we reach this Goldilocks zone, that these things go underground into hiding, and are those creatures just like how the Martians would have. It's like a whole, you have to watch the episode. It's insane, but it's mind-blowing and eye-opening, and it's really, really good.
It's totally.
But this is what it makes me think, like maybe Bigfoot's just something that was here before that can't deal with the way the environment is now.
Us and making sure we don't.
And us.
Making sure that we we make this journey from territorial apes with thermonuclear weapons into some sort of an advanced
being,
galactic society, and that there's a very crucial moment where the instincts of these tribal people, which is all of us, all human beings, are these tribal territorial people, where you have to keep them from sabotaging any possible future progress by blowing themselves up, by killing each other,
by ending ourselves.
And then when you say that, they go, "Yeah, that was it." Is that easy? Like, not that easy. Like, you go,
yeah,
that's about it.
Trying to keep you guys from blowing yourselves up. This is like, but maybe that's like the natural thing that you see, like when civilizations advance. Like, there's a very precarious moment where like they have the capability of blowing themselves up, but the reason and the logic to not do it. But they also have these instincts to control resources and take over territories. They still have those instincts, but they have to bypass that. They have to figure out how to. And so that's when aliens start circling and just keeping an eye on us.
Yeah.
That's the primary.
I mean, that's what you would hope, right? Instead of like them attacking us.
Yes.
Because then
if they were going to attack us, they would have already done it.
They would have killed us already. Agreed.
They really could do all those things. They could probably take out.
We'd be done. We wouldn't even be here.
Apparently, the stories are that they're able to shut down nuclear launches and nuclear facilities, and that they do that, and they hover over military bases, and that they'll just shut everything down just to let you know, hey, bitch. You know,
we got that and you don't.
Don't get too fucking squirrely out
That's
there.
That's so
cool. to basically make it harder for radars to see you. You know, and that's the whole thing.
It's just doing like multiple episodes. It's like a clip.
Airplanes that are nose on.
I'm okay with that.
Are harder to see than airplanes at the side.
I want to circle back again. If you haven't already, check out the Joe Rogan Experience Terrence Howard episode. It is absolutely brilliant. I feel like Terrence, well, at least for me, it's something that's if you watch this channel, followed me on any social media, you know that essentially what Terrence Howard said is my way of thinking. I see the world in frequencies and vibrations, and I've talked about how different frequencies and vibrations put you in a different state of mind. We talked about Verdi's A on the channel, and he touches up on a lot of that stuff, and I think it's brilliant when he talks about the way that UAP or UFO accelerate. Essentially, they decouple from the frequency of the Earth, so instead of them moving away from the Earth fighting against gravity, they decouple from the frequency, and the Earth accelerates away from the craft at the speed in which the Earth itself is traveling, which is ridiculous. Think of the speed of the Earth and the solar system and the galaxy and so on and so forth. You can decouple from those frequencies and travel at that speed without feeling the G-force because you're completely detached and decoupled. You're in this bubble. Essentially, Futurama, which is crazy how right Futurama can be sometimes. The way that the dark matter engine works is that you don't move around the universe. The ship stays in one place and the universe moves around you. And it makes sense in Futurama in its own, quirky way. You can see the math that's there, but Terrence Howard explains it in a way that it's like, oh, duh. And this is why the universe would move around you. This is why that would technically be correct. I'm telling you, it's a beautiful episode. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel that the implications it could have are ridiculous and extreme, and I love it.
Think of a barn door. If you're looking at the whole barn door, it's really easy to see. If I turn the barn door sideways where it's really thin, it's going to be a lot harder for you to see it.
Got it.
So that's the easiest, most basic way to look at this. So you keep going. You can play again. And you can look, the airplane is still sitting at 20,000 feet. It's doing 250 knots. He's going to go through different modes and try and lock it. And it's just
look at that thing.
And all of a sudden, as the video goes on, I think it's a minute and a half long. See, it's going to try and reacquire. It recenters the pod, so it's
trying
drifting to the left. The Hornet is
UFO
still on the same heading, it's just kind of hanging out, and they're just filming this thing.
And this is the one that drops into the water with no splash, right?
When you see it on a full, because this, you think digital, you'd be able to get a 1-for-1 copy. Unlike, when you copy your album to a cassette, you lose a little quality. Well, you still do in digital world, and off it goes to the left, and that's pretty fast to leave that field of view. When we have big monitors that we look at these when they come back, so we're looking at the original tapes. So
play the end of that again, please, Jamie.
And the field of view would be drastic because it's
how fast
it's expanded outward. So this thing would have gone
takes off to the left. How fast is that going?
I would say pretty fast. It's an estimate. If we had ranging, you could obviously do the triangle and go, hey, because we know how big the field of view is. But for something to leave the field of view that fast with the pod just staring is pretty fast. I mean, it's like...
They would have to go faster than the jet itself.
No, because we can't...
No.
I don't care what airplane is, so let's just use a
thing that we have.
No.
No, because we can't... I don't care what airplane is, so let's just
I love
use
that.
F-22. That's probably one of the... It's probably the best airplane in the world right now, performance-wise. It can't take off like that, especially if it's a hover. I mean, you're talking something that's just sitting in space in the wind, and then it just all of a sudden accelerates. Airplanes don't.
Which again, we're talking about something, as they said, they're talking about G-forces, they're talking about wind resistance, they're talking about the resistances that we feel here on the Earth. And it wouldn't make sense for them to just travel without experiencing that, especially at the speed they go through. You would think the G-force would destroy them, especially you don't see any acceleration, any engine, anything like that. If we go into what Terrence Howard was saying, it would make sense that when you decouple, there is no gravity. What it is the force of electricity acting upon us at this frequency. Oh my God, it's a whole thing. You need to watch it. But it makes so much sense on how these UAP, UFOs, even things that we make, if we actually utilize what he's saying, would be able to travel through any medium and not experience the forces of nature, which it requires a complete change in your perception of reality, which reality is perception. So if we can change that perception, we can effectively change our reality. Woo! Whole thing. I want to do an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience because I enjoyed it. I would love to speak to Terrence Howard, although I don't think that would be possible. He's very famous. But that episode is like 3 hours, maybe more long. And I don't want to just, lift Joe's video. So I would recommend that you go watch it. We may watch a few clips on the channel, but you really need to go and watch it. I'm actually going to have it linked in the description below, as well as this clip video.
See, there's IR zoomed in, and you would see a plume if that was an airplane.
It's creepy.
Right.
It's off.
Yeah.
With active jamming, it's intelligently controlled. There's no rotors, there's no plumes, there's no exhaust, there's no tail fin, there's no tail number. This thing goes from a standstill, takes off. It's a propulsion system we don't have in our inventory, and no other nation does. That's how it's understood by the government.
Now that's say if the fastest plane on Earth was trying to do that same maneuver, this system would
crushed to the side.
It would stay with it until it got to the limits of the pod, as far as looking to the left. But
right.
And the radar would see it. I mean, when you get close enough, you're gonna, everything becomes visible because you get burned through with radar and how radars actually work. This one is
not doing it.
You tell me. It's performance beyond. I mean, it's like when we saw it disappear when it flew in front of my nose. I'm talking something. I'm within a half mile of it, looking at it, and it gets in front of me and just disappears. So we'll just go to something that everyone knows is fast. Let's just say SR-71 that's doing Mach 3. The visibility is 50 miles. So even at 35 miles a minute, I'm going to be able to see this thing turn into a dot as it goes off into the horizon.
You couldn't even see.
The thing that we saw disappeared in a second.
But imagine if the UAP, again, I just keep going back. This episode was just wow. Especially as someone who meditates a lot, him talking on the frequencies, wow. If this UAP decouples from the Earth is going to move away as fast as the Earth is going. If it decouples from the galaxy itself, imagine how fast our galaxy is zooming through space, with the Earth zooming, with the sun and the solar system, everything at that same time. You wouldn't be able to perceive the motion of the galaxy's movement. We can't perceive it now. So if this thing just stays still and the entirety of the galaxy moves at the speed at which it's seemingly hurling across space or expanding outward, depending on what's happening, this thing is just gonna. You're not gonna see it turn into a dot. It's just not gonna be there anymore.
Just gone. And that's
just gone.
Different angles.
Just
the other
gone.
1,000 feet above me, we get close to it at about 12,000 feet. So the other airplane's above me looking down, and when it
Same thing.
I said, "Do you guys see it?" And they said, "No, it's gone."
No, I love that. And I love that we have multiple clips I enjoy that Joe Rogan actually takes the time to ask questions, and he's very open-minded. He doesn't care like what side of the fence you're on. Like you guys know how everything gets so political and crazy. He'll have anyone on the show. He'll ask any questions, and he's just there to have fun and engage and maybe learn and maybe teach. And I think that's super cool, especially because we get to have a more open dialogue about UFOs and have conversations like this, which may not have been. I mean, they would have been possible in the past, but I wouldn't want to say frowned upon. But people are like, "Oh, you're crazy." Like now, Joe Rogan is like one of the, if not the biggest podcaster in the world, a huge freaking platform, and he's opening the conversation up, and I love that. Maybe that'll open some minds, and we'll get some more information. Now, if you want to check out some UFO sightings, check out the clips right there. Paranormal videos right here. Reading Reddit videos, which are kind of fun, and the Mandela Effect videos, which will blow your mind.